Here are some of the Christian fiction books that are coming out in March 2021. Hello, welcome back to my channel Christian Faith and Fiction. My name's Lou. As you've seen from the title, this is going to be the new books that are coming out that I could find in Christian fiction in March 2021. If you know any more books that you know about or you're excited about, let me know down in the comments, especially if you can find any Christian fiction romance books, because I couldn't really find many of those this month. As always, I've split these up into different genres. So the Christian fiction is a category, but they are many different genres. So feel free to skip through to the genre that you particularly like to read. I'm just going to read out the first paragraph from the description. But if you want to find out more, I've got links to the Goodread pages in my blog post. In historical fiction, Dreams Rekindled by Amanda Cabot is the second book in her, I'm sorry if I pronounced this wrong, Mesquite Springs series, and it releases on the 2nd of March. When a dashing newspaper man comes to Mesquite Springs, aspiring writer Dorothy Clark sees her dreams coming true until a man arrives with altogether different plans for the town and its newspaper. My Dear Miss Dupre by Grace Hitchcock releases on the 2nd of March. Willow Dupre never thought she would have to marry, but with her father's unexpected retirement from running the prosperous Dupre sugar refinery, plans changed. The shareholders are unwilling to allow a female to take over the company without a man at her side, so her parents devise a plan, find Willow a spokesman king in order for her to become queen of the empire. Braced for Love by Mary Connealy is the first book in her Brothers in Arms series, and it also releases on the 2nd of March. Left with little back in Missouri, Kevin Hunt takes his younger siblings on a journey to Wyoming when he receives news that he's inheriting part of a ranch. The catch is that the ranch is also being given to a half-brother he never knew existed. Turns out Kevin's supposedly dead father led a secret and scandalous life. Destined for You by Tracie Peterson is the first book in her Ladies of the Lake series, and that also releases on the 2nd of March. In 1869, Gloriana Womack's family is much smaller since smallpox killed her mother and 2 of her siblings. She lives in a modest cottage in Duluth, Minnesota, with her father and young brother, and she has dedicated her life to holding her tiny fractured family together, especially as her father is frequently gone on long fishing trips. Their livelihood may come from the waters of Lake Superior, but storms on the lake can be dangerous, even to those who know it well. The Curator's Daughter by Melanie Dobson releases on the 9th of March. 1940, Hannah Tillich cherishes her work as an archaeologist for the Third Reich, searching for the Holy Grail and other artifacts to bolster evidence of a master Aryan race. But when she is reassigned to work as a museum curator in Nuremberg, then forced to marry an SS officer and adopt a young girl, Hannah begins to see behind the Nazi facade. A prayer labyrinth becomes a storehouse for Hannah's secrets, but as she comes to love Lily as her own daughter, she fears what she's hiding, and what she begins to uncover could put them both in mortal danger. A Tapestry of Light by Kimberly Duffy releases on the 16th of March. Calcutta 1886. Ottilie Russell is adrift between 2 cultures, British and Indian, belonging to both and neither, in order to support her little brother Thaddeus and her grandmother. She relies upon her skills in beetle wing embroidery that have been passed down to her through generations of Indian women. When a stranger appears with news that Thaddeus is now Baron Sanderson and must travel to England to take his place as a nobleman, Ottilie is shattered by the secrets that come to light. In biblical fiction, Miriam'S Song by Jill Eileen Smith releases on the 2nd of March. Miriam and her people have prayed for deliverance from the cruel tyranny of Egypt for generations. She believes her brother is the long-awaited answer to their pleas, but how can the exiled prince turned shepherd Moses stand against the most powerful man in the world? Jerusalem's Daughter by Jenna van Mourik releases on the 16th of March. Having grown up in the impoverished lower city of Jerusalem, Shamira is no stranger to injustice at the hands of the Pharisees. Her family is shunned by many in the Jewish community who believe that their misfortune in life is the result of a secret sin. Rumours are spreading of a nearby healer with incredible abilities. If the stories are true, then the Messiah may be near, and Shamira will stop at nothing in the pursuit of a miracle. In contemporary fiction, Facing the Dawn by Cynthia Ruchti releases on March the 2nd. Mara Jacobs does her best to hold everything together despite 3 detention-prone kids, an unrewarding job, never-ending chores, and a husband thousands of miles away. After a shocking loss, she must lean on those around her to find her way to healing and renewed faith. In mystery and suspense, Unknown Threat by Lynn H. Blackburn releases on the 2nd of March. It's the first book in her Defend and Protect series. US Secret Service Special Agent Luke Powell is lucky to be alive. 3 of his fellow agents have died in unusual circumstances in the past 10 weeks. Luke is devastated by the loss of his friends and colleagues, and his inability to locate the killer feels like a personal failure. He's an expert at shielding others, but now the protectors are in need of protection. The Beirut Protocol by Joel C. Rosenberg releases on the 9th of March. A game-changing peace treaty between Israel and the Saudis is nearly done. The Secretary of State is headed to the region to seal the deal, and Special Agent Marcus Riker is leading an advanced trip along the Israeli-Lebanon border ahead of the Secretary's arrival. But when Riker and his team are ambushed by Hezbollah forces, a nightmare scenario begins to unfold. Hours to Kill by Susan Sleeman is the 3rd book, I think, in the Homeland series, and it releases on the 16th of March. I'm not going to read the description for this one because it sounds like it might continue on from the first 2 books. Nightfall by Nancy Mehl is the first book in her Quantico Files series, and it releases on the 30th of March. Now that Alexandra Alex Donovan is finally free of her troubled upbringing, she's able to live out her childhood dream of working for the FBI. But soon after she becomes a member of the FBI's elite behavioral analysis unit, authorities in Kansas and Missouri contact them about bodies found in freight trains travelling across the country, all killed in the same way. Finally, in sci-fi and fantasy, Operation Grendel by Daniel Schwabauer? Schwabauer? I don't know how to pronounce that. Is releasing on the 9th of March from Enclave, which is a Christian fantasy and sci-fi publisher. It's the war story he's dreamed of, but the battle may cost him his mind. Military journalist Raymond Dahl thinks he's finally getting the story of a lifetime. Secret peace talks on a remote tropical moon are about to surrender 5 colonized worlds and 600 million civilians to a ruthless enemy. But when his commanding officer, Captain Ansel Sterling, is fatally wounded before the negotiations can begin, Dahl can no longer just report on the mission. He's ordered to complete it. The Wingfeather Tales by Jonathan Rogers, N.D. Wilson, Jennifer Trafton, Douglas Kaine McKelvey. I believe this is a Christian fiction series. I've got it behind me. So the last book is releasing in hardback on the 23rd of March, and this is the Tales from the World of Iriar. This is a re-release in a hardback edition. Mortal Sight by Sandra Fernandez Rhodes is releasing on the 9th of March in audiobook for the first time. 17-year-old Kira Marlowe wants a normal life, one where she and her mum can stop skipping town every time a disturbing vision strikes. But when a girl she knows is murdered by a monster she can't explain, Kira's world turns upside down. Suddenly thrown into an ancient supernatural battle, Kira discovers she's not alone in her gifting and vows to use her visions to save lives. A Time to Die by Nadine Brandes is also releasing an audiobook, and that's on the 9th of March. Both these books have already been released before. How would you live if you knew the day you'd die? Parvin Blackwater has wasted her life. At only 17, she has 1 year left, according to the clock by her bedside. In a last-ditch effort to make a difference, she tries to rescue radicals from the crooked justice system. But when the authorities find out about her illegal activity, they cast her through the wall, her people's death sentence. Songkeeper by Gillian Bronte Adams releases an audiobook as well on the 9th of March. This is another one that is being re-released into audiobook. I think it's for the first time. And this is the second book in the Songkeeper Chronicles, so I won't read out the description. And finally, Firebird by Kathy Tyers is releasing on the 23rd of March in audiobook for the first time. Lady Firebird was born a princess of the royal family of Natai. Because of her birthplace in the family, however, her life is expendable. Honourable suicide is the highest calling she could hope to attain. When she is chosen to lead an attack on the neighbouring planet of Viron, her death is expected. She is taken prisoner during the battle and is held by the enemy. With her own people seeking her sacrifice, Firebird must choose between two worlds before she can carve out her new destiny. Okay, so those are the books that I've managed to find. If you know of any more Christian fiction books that are coming out in March 2021, then please do leave them down in the comments and let me know as well if any of those books sound interesting to you. Until next time, I hope you have a really good reading week. Okay, bye.